Hey artists, today I have something really fun to do. We're going to be making our own Charlie Harper inspired raccoons with a Van Gogh sky. All right, I'm going to make sure I have 2 pieces of paper, and the first paper I'm going to use to create my little raccoon. I want to add some texture to the paper, so what I'm going to do is use this bottom part of my crayon, and I'm just going to kind of lightly go back and forth on my paper just to give it like some little color and texture. So I'm kind of going back and forth, not hard, but just giving it a little bit of weird texture lines. So I'm just kind of using the bottom of my crayon to do this back and forth all the way around on my paper. Just so my paper's no longer just a plain white, but it has this brown kind of streaking texture. You could kind of go in circles a little bit, just giving your paper some extra texture. Oops. All right. So now that I've added some of this wild texture to my paper, it is not looking like a plain piece of paper anymore. There's a little bit of this light brown, liney, textury stuff. Okay. So now my paper is ready for my black crayon, and I'm going to want to go up toward the top of my page, and I'm going to put my finger where the middle of my paper is. And so here's the middle and here's the edge. We're going to be drawing our raccoon face right here. So I want to find the middle of this side. So what I do is I put my finger here and I go and slide together, and I'm like, okay, that's the middle of this half of my paper, and that's where I'm going to draw my raccoon's nose. And when you draw his nose, you don't want it to be huge. It's just kind of like the tip of my pinky size. And I am coloring it in with my black crayon, leaving a little shine spot because that always looks kind of fun. And so then the next thing I'm going to do is draw a line that goes straight up about that far. And then I'm going to draw a line that comes all the way to the edge of my paper. And then I want to try to make this symmetrical so it's the same on both sides for his face. So if I went that far that way, I want to go about that far on this side. All right. And then the next thing I'm going to do is make this line that comes down like this to kind of show the darker part of his little face. Here we go. It's a curved line, and then a curved line going up like that. All right. And then the next thing I'm going to do is work on his little eyes. So I'm going to draw the circle right here, like a big open circle. And then I'm going to put a dark circle inside. And you're going to want to do the same thing on the other side. Try to find that same spot so they look the same. And then the darker circle inside, and oh my goodness, I see this little raccoon face coming to life. The next thing I'm going to do is draw one line coming down like this, and I'm going to repeat that line over here on this side. And then I'm going to do something similar right here, up, and then the same on that side, up. All right, and now you can kind of see where his little mask is. And so we're going to just start coloring with our black crayon all around his eye for the little mask that we always see on a raccoon. All right, and we're just going to fill this in. Ooh, try not to get it into that white space you had right there. All right, I'm going to do the same on this side. He is looking pretty cute so far. All around here. Okay. Carefully making sure I stay in the lines. And then the next thing I'm going to do is draw the top of his little head, which is going to be a curved line that just kind of goes over like this. So we're going to curve kind of over that way. Now this fellow is going to need some cute little raccoon ears, and they're going to go up kind of with a rounded triangle. So it goes up and we kind of round it and comes all the way down. We're going to do that same shape over here, up, kind of a rounded triangle all the way down. And then inside, we're going to draw the same rounded triangle. And we're going to color that in with our black crayon. Oh my goodness, he's really starting to look pretty cute over here. The next thing we're going to work on is his body. So that part is not going to be the same on both sides like we've been doing here, because he's going to be curved looking this way. So I'm going to take my crayon and I'm going to make a curved line this way. I'm going to draw it with my finger first so you can see it's going to be a curve like that. And then over here we're going to do a straight line coming down for his little hand that is coming out like this. So there's his little hand. And then a curved line coming this way for the other part of his little hand, his little arm. And then we're going to curve this kind of around back to the beginning, kind of like a big U shape. And that's his little body, and here's his little hand reaching out. Now they have these long fingers, so we're going to draw these big long fingers coming out. And it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, because he's holding on to this tree. So we've got him holding on to the tree there. And then the next thing we're going to do is draw from right here on the edge. We're going to curl this up like this. Just a curved line coming up. And that shows his other little leg. So here's one leg. Here's his other little leg. And then we're going to show his little foot coming out right here. So again, that big long foot. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The next big part is going to be this tail, and we're going to do a big swooping circle like this. So I'm going to take it right here and go right around like this, and then over like that. And then I'm going to want to make a big U shape coming down to bring that tail back around. All right. And now he's really starting to look like a cute little raccoon. He's going to need some stripes on his tail, so we do a curved line and then another curved line, and then we're going to color that in with our black crayon. And we're going to do that again 2 more times, so he has 3 big stripes on his tail. So 1, 2, and a 3rd little stripe on his tail, 3. Okay. So now we've got this guy all finished. And the next thing we're going to want to do is draw the branch that he's going to be hanging off of. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and get out my markers. And I'm going to grab my brown marker and my black marker and my brown crayon and my black crayon. And we're going to create a branch for him to be holding onto. Okay, so now I'm going to take my brown marker and I'm just going to kind of draw right behind the middle of him to show that he's clinging to this branch. So I'm going to take my brown marker and I'm going to make not a straight line, but there's a little bit of a texture to it, like a little curve. And then I'm going to use my finger to see where it would pop out. Up right there. And you can draw right across his feet because it will resist that. And then you're going to take your finger down and it's going to pop out right there. So you can see that right here is going to be the branch that he's sitting on. And so I'm just going to make like some light little texture lines with my marker. So I'm kind of taking the side of my marker and I'm just making some little texture lines without running into his fur, just kind of around him. All right, and then I'm going to get out my brown crayon and I'm going to start coloring in over that pretty hard to show where the branch is. So I'm going all around my wonderful little raccoon and making sure that I'm just coloring in the tree that he is holding on to right here. awesome. This is really starting to look cool. I actually got this lesson from Cassie Stevens, and she uses some paint and some different papers and collages, which are just materials that we don't all have at home right now. So this is kind of my modified version of her lesson that we can do at home with the materials we have. So I'm just coloring this in like this all the way around. And he is starting to look awfully cute hanging onto his tree right here. So we're just going to color that in all the way. And now we have our finished raccoon. Our tree is looking good. You can add a little bit of extra texture with your black crayon, just adding some different little lines. It just makes your tree have a little more character, adding those black lines, making sure you don't get it on his body, but you can just draw around him. All right, and I'm going to put some up here too. And now my tree has lots of cool texture by using those marker lines and then the crayon on top. Nice. So our last step is going to be designing this Van Gogh inspired sky. And we're thinking about the picture that Van Gogh did, Starry Night. And the stars are almost exploding with color. There's blue and yellow kind of lines going around in circles. And we're going to try to create that on our other piece of paper. So what I'm going to do is get out a second piece of paper. And I'm going to put this cute guy to the side. We will be cutting him out and gluing him onto this background that we create. All right, now for this background. We're going to be thinking about those awesome Van Gogh paintings that have the starry night, and it's kind of like the stars are these round circles. And we're just going to put some round circles throughout our paper. And then we're just going to make some half circle swirlies that kind of go around those stars. So just kind of like some little half circle swirlies all around. With our marker. And I'm just going to keep adding those little swirly marks, kind of like little half circles, short choppy lines. And I'm going to put some around here. All right. Now that I've got that, I'm going to take my yellow crayon and I'm just going to add a little bit of kind of a yellow swirl around that area where the stars are. Just adding some of that color in. And then I'm going to take my blue-green that kind of makes a lighter blue, and I'm going to use this to color in my sky, just smooth and not pushing real hard over any of the space. I'm just kind of lightly coloring this in, going around the stars. Light, light, light color, around, 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 and not coloring over the stars, just kind of going around them. And I'm going to fill this whole space in with this light blue. All right, I got that all colored in, and now I'm just going to start making some little swirlies with harder pressure. I was also going to tell you guys, I didn't really color this part because I know that I'm going to cut our little raccoon out and put it right over there, and so I wasn't too concerned about getting that colored because I know I'm going to cover it up anyway. So I'm just adding some little swirlies here and just kind of around in between, just a few like that. And then I'm going to get that darker blue crayon and I'm going to put some of those same short lines around my stars. Oh my goodness, there is a dog crawling in my lap. Get out of here. And I'm just going this way, all the way around. Okay, just swirling this around all the way. And this is starting to really look like that cool Van Gogh painting where the stars are just almost looking like they're moving with these swirly lines around those swirly stars. I think this looks really cool. Okay, so we're just kind of adding those lines, going out, 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 all the way to the edge. Okay, and then I think the last thing we're going to do here is just add a little bit of blue marker to add some more texture and just a little more of that kind of cool thing there. All right, so we're going to take this and just again some of those short lines just going around our stars. And then the next step is we're going to cut out this guy and we're going to glue it on here. So go ahead and finish your little lines around here, and then we're going to cut him out and glue him on. Okay, so our sky is done. I've cut around him, and I realized something, that we are going to work through this problem. We cut all the way around this guy, and we cut off the end here. But you will notice that there is this little part here that really shouldn't be there. That should be the sky. How do we fix that? I will show you how. Watch carefully. We're going to cut around the tail like we're cutting him out completely. Just enough that we can go all the way around the tail. All the way around. And then we're going to just cut right along the tree. And just kind of cut around his little foot. And up around his body. Whoop. And now you don't have that space, it's taken out. And when we glue it down, this will glue right back on the tree, and it won't matter that we cut out part of the tail. So the next thing you're going to want to do is grab your glue stick, turn this handsome little guy over, and we're going to take our glue stick and go all the way around the edge. Don't go crazy with the glue, just get it around the edge and then some squiggles through the middle. So we get around these little corners here. Around this edge, and then some little squiggly guys through the middle just to make sure we have enough to hold it down. Now, picking this guy back up for this beautiful Van Gogh sky, we want to carefully line it up right on the edge here. Okay, right on the edge, getting that tail back down. And wow, such a cool picture. So we were inspired by two artists today. We learned about Charlie Harper in a separate video, drew a Charlie Harper style raccoon, and then we drew a Van Gogh style sky, and I think it looks awesome. I can't wait to see what you create.